at what point is the server here most vulnerable? And I'm choosing this point, and I'm choosing Mark here. Mark is the one up front. He's the server. Winston's the one, the returner. And I'm choosing this point, this actual match, because I think by showing this, it's going to be very obvious when the server is going to be vulnerable. But before we get into it, I want to say a quick thank you to Winston Du for letting me use this video. Check out his channel for some awesome tennis content, and I'll post a link to his channel in the description area. So let's check out this point real quick. And the most vulnerable time for the server is right after they serve. And I chose Mark here in particular because it's pretty glaring what he does. And so when he serves here, notice this is a toss that goes way to the left. He's trying to do a kick serve, and his kick serve is fairly good. But when he does this kick serve, notice that he's falling back, and he's actually 2 to 3 feet back behind the baseline here, and he's leaning towards the left. He's very much off balance here, and even if you are balanced right after you serve, you are still vulnerable. You know, a lot of servers, good servers, they're pretty much in a weak position right after they serve, because a lot of deep returns that come back at their feet, that they're not quite prepared for that. So even if you are balanced, you could still be very vulnerable. But Mark here was super vulnerable. And the disappointing thing about this was for Winston, right? For Winston, I was looking and watching this whole match. Winston did not poke any kind of return up the line, maybe once or twice, but there was no intention to really take advantage or exploit Mark's weakness here of just being off balance after this serve. And so this return here by Winston just goes straight up to the center. Again, no intention of going here. I mean, if he actually tried to go here and missed a little bit, then maybe I could forgive him a little bit. But, he never really tried to go down the line. And here's pretty much a sitter here for Mark. Really, does a very good inside-out forehand. Here's a short ball and puts this away. So you'll get pretty much hammered if you don't take advantage of your opponent's weaknesses. Here's a different point where Winston doesn't take advantage. Actually, he accommodates. He accommodates Mark's weakness here. Notice that Mark is landing behind the baseline here, leaning towards the left, and he actually goes inside out straight to Mark's backhand. Mark doesn't even have to take more than one step for this backhand here. He does a pretty good slice, and Winston just drops this ball to the net. So again, no intention of going down the line on these ad side returns, right? So if you see anybody just falling back like this, falling back after they serve here, especially on a kick serve, right? On a kick serve, a lot of recreational players, they throw it way too much to the left. They're leaning back here, and their momentum is just not very good. You could still get a decent kick serve, right, by going backward on the serve, but you got to take advantage of this position here. It's a very much a positional weakness. And again, Winston accommodating his opponent's weakness. I actually found a point where Winston does take advantage of going up the line here. Here's another serve by Mark. Falls a little bit towards the left. He's now inside the baseline, though, so this was a little different. But Winston takes a crack at it up the line. Hit hard. Fairly short, right? He wasn't even aiming for the corner, but he does go up the line here, and this forces Mark to go with a chop forehand. So very defensive here. Unfortunately, again, Winston doesn't take advantage. This forehand sails wide here. But, that's the idea, right? If you ever see a server just falling off to the left, falling behind, you got to take advantage of that positionally, because once a server is off balance, and normally they're off balance right after they serve, it's hard to regain your balance. Very hard to regain your balance, right? Take it early and poke it to the open space, and maybe you'll find your opponent very defensive. If you enjoyed this video, kindly do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.